So, welcome to the afternoon session. My name is Johann Strauss, like the famous composer. I was born not too far away from where he was born, but I live in Munich in Germany. And I'm the director for IT solutions in Huawei in Western Europe. How many of you know Huawei so far? Okay, a couple of you. How many of you are vendors in this room? Other companies. At least one brave guy that raises the hand. How many of you are service providers? Okay. And public sector customers? Okay, there are more. And then we got enterprise customers. I assume that's the rest. Okay. Because that was the interesting, when I was preparing the presentation, So this cloud computing forum is a mix of a lot of different people, a lot of different types of customers. So this is why in this hour we can only talk about a couple of things. I'm not going to go through every single business model with you as in the presentation. What I want to show you is a couple of things. What drives this market? We're in a cloud forum, so probably I'm repeating a lot what we already know. But in the eyes of a Huawei that comes from a telco world, what we're seeing with our customers right now. Since there's a typo. No typo. No. Capabilities and success stories. And I really want to put a bit more focus on the success stories. The capabilities is really like, what are we doing in cloud? You've seen that we're out there with a stand. How many of you have seen what we're doing in cloud so far? Or have experienced anything? Interesting. How many of you are using mobile phones here? From the famous suspects. You're probably using a Huawei cloud without even knowing it. Because this is where we're coming from. We built the platforms, we built the world. 45 of the 50 largest operators in the world are our customers. So you're using Huawei IT technologies for a long time and you don't even know it. Because we built it for them to provide services to you. And this is why all our systems, and this is when I'm going to be talking about capabilities. We had to build large cloud systems for telcos and service providers to manage people data, to manage provisioning. And then we said, okay, what works for a large telco environment, we can scale down and bring it into the enterprise market and help people to be successful in that market. All right, so two sets of drivers we're seeing here. Operators, this is the world we're coming from. And enterprise, this is the world where we're entering the market since about 18 months now. 18 months ago, there was no enterprise business group at Huawei. What do operators want to do? They want to offer unique services because you don't want to be commoditized in the service provider world. We all know voice has been commoditized. Mobile phone calls, they're getting cheaper day by day. Flat rate telephony. To my history, I worked for another company, US-based company before, and we kind of invented voice over IP. And that was in '97 when we had the first Cisco Expo in Cannes. And all the voice vendors said, you know what, that's never going to happen. Flat rate voice. I remember John Chambers was talking about voice will run for free at that time. And everybody said, yeah, you're stupid. Yeah. These things happen. Yeah? And the same with data. Flat rate data is even on mobile phones, is existing today. So what operators need to do is they need to go out for new services. Yeah? improve internal efficiency with cloud. Yeah? And that was one of the focus areas that we were working on over the last years to help operators be more efficient. Because they still run a lot of silos. You won't believe it. Even the most famous one that bringing new services to market, they still run in silos. Don't want to put out names here. So their challenges are, there's a brownfield of existing network, and you want to build cloud services, but it's not only about a bit of Salesforce.com. Yeah? They still want to make a lot of money on voice. So we need to enable cloud services with voice and video telephony. So we're talking about HD quality videos, and you want to run a call center application. Yeah? It's not about a little bit of Skype here. Yeah? If you are an airline company and you get 20,000 agents and you want to go desktop cloud, and you need to take care about, is my call center and my airline reservation system still running, even if there is a bit of a glitch in the network. Yeah. So this is what the challenges are right now in the operator side. On the enterprise side, we all know about these here, efficiencies, cost reductions. But there's one more thing. It's really about agility. Huawei internally runs one of the world's largest desktop clouds. Our whole R&D, we got 70,000 people in R&D. I repeat, 70,000, 70K. They're all running on desktop VDI. 15 data centers across the world, 15 locations across the world are running on desktop VDI. And sometimes you need to move because the areas where you're doing R&D today are getting very expensive. People are complaining, and you need to move into other locations. Usually, moving an R&D site, that's like a 2 years exercise. We could move 10,000 people in a couple of days. Because all I had to do is log off, go to the new site, there's a thin client waiting, you log in, everything's there. Nothing had to be moved around as in the old days. Yeah? So that brings agility. Yeah? So meeting demands for scalability, resilience, and then why is Huawei R&D run on desktop cloud? Agility is one piece, security. We got so many patents that our competitors like to get our intellectual property. The best way to stop that is we're on desktop VDI. Yes, you still can take a photo of your screen. There's no way stopping this. But it's much easier to identify people taking photos of desktops or whatever than people that just putting something on a USB stick and there it goes. Yeah? You get control on your intellectual property with that. So, in terms of the operator and the internet environment, the world is turning flat. On the left side, you see what the consumer side wants from us. Access to information anytime, any place, anywhere. Mobility. You need real-time data or real-time analysis. So we need to think about these things. Yeah. You need insight into big data volume. The time of, oh, I'm running an analysis and that takes 6 weeks and then we're getting some output is over. We're talking about instant analysis of medical data coming out of a PACS system so that whilst you're sitting with the doctor, the result comes in. So when the world is talking about big data, this is one of the examples, where, for example, HANA is taking place. On the other side, we got the supply side. Companies like us, company like your company, service providers, new service providers. What do we need to do here? Tight integration with business. The time of, oh, here is my box and I give it to you is enough. Okay, we're not buying the boxes because of the sake of buying boxes. Yeah? We need to have, and we heard that this morning, yeah, the business integration of what kind of IT are we running internally, centrally, and what kind of IT is out there all over the world. We need to customize solutions end to end. Again, it's not about who's got the fastest server on earth or the fastest storage on earth. It doesn't make sense if you don't have the pipes in between and the terminal devices that can support this. Yeah? So this is where we're coming from an end-to-end perspective and say, all right, our architecture is cloud pipe device and not just a device or a server or a storage or a piece of software. Infrastructure as a service is moving more into platform as a service. So people are moving up the value stack. Gartner did a study recently in 2011 with CEOs about IT. It's very interesting. Every year we're hearing more and more that IT is moving away from a cost center into driving the business. For sure, yes, we need to adapt and we need to change. Yeah? Internal and external collaboration. All the keynotes this morning were talking about this. Yeah? How do you do research today? It's not like in your silo and then you write a report and somebody reads that. Yeah? Good example of the enterprise world, Fiat, the Cinquecento. They opened up the development of this new car. So people on social media could give input to the developers of that car. There were 20,000 people giving input to that development. It's quite an interesting factor, you know, using social media and external people to help you driving your products. You know. That's got to be an interesting factor in the IT market as well. Yeah. So top 3 things of CEO level. IT is used to build competitive advantage. In my hometown, there's 1, 2, 3 manufacturing of automotive. Car manufacturer and truck manufacturer and automotive suppliers. They all look into that as IT, not just okay, we need to run IT to run our systems. How can I enable my company to be faster, bringing out new cars, new trucks to the market by using IT? Yeah. It's very interesting. Yeah? So IT is an investment to drive revenue growth and control operational costs. So we need new business models in this. Yeah? As you're getting the presentation, I don't read everything here. Yeah? I see a kind of a light at the end of the tunnel that it's not only about cutting the budgets and you know, oh yeah, IT is too costly. It's really what we're seeing is it's an investment to control business operating costs. It's an investment to drive revenue. And that's how the world of IT should be in the future. Yeah? And with cloud technologies, we're going to change that. We're going to work around this. So looking at our customers, right now we see two kind of scenarios the customers we're talking about. There are, let's start from the bottom here. There are the product cloud people. Yeah? All right, it's like the Amazon type of thing. Yeah, I want to buy cloud from you. Yeah. Okay, and here's what I want. Yeah. Nothing else. Yeah. Get me desktop as a service or software as a service or platform as a service. And here are the specs. Go out, do a tender, do it. Yeah. What they need to do is they need to add global support and more complete solutions to it. Interesting enough, a lot of the IT is only about IT and it's not about ICT. communication and collaboration, we usually tend to, okay, that's something that the voice guys are doing. Yeah. Still, I heard it this morning, there are still a lot of PABX guys out there. Yeah. What's the biggest savings that a company that's not just doing R&D on desktop VDI will have when they're deploying a desktop VDI environment? Standard desk on any hotel counter. You got a phone, you got a printer, you got a PC sits somewhere, and it's all messy, it all consumes a lot of power and a lot of maintenance, and then you got a monitor and everything. Yeah? If you can converge these worlds using a thin client and a desktop environment where the phone is part of that IT solution, then we're saving more than just, okay, I replaced the cheap PC with a cheap thin client, and I'm going to save 20 watts of 50 watts of power on this. Bringing these worlds together. So adding ICT into cloud is very important. Yeah. And on the other side, we got the custom enterprise cloud people. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to build your specific cloud for you, Mr. BMW or whatever. Yeah. And I'm going to build it especially for you. Yeah. This is more the outsourcing type of world. There what we see is same, add communication to it. ICT is driving the future, it's not IT only. And control costs. So there are operator cloud needs, network integration, scalability for this. And the enterprise ICT cloud especially needs the right support model and the communication interface. Because very often we're just talking about, here's the server, but that server, 7, 8 years ago, we started to run voice systems on servers. Yeah? So that's very important. So what is Huawei doing here? Why are we here? Why am I talking to you? We use cloud and telecom expertise to transform things. As said, we've built clouds and we built large clouds. Most of them are not known because they're eaten in service providers. If a service provider, telco, can save a lot of costs and create agility because their billing system and their operating systems run on a cloud environment, then you don't see a big business case out of this. Because they usually come out with like, hey, here's the newest flat rate, or here's the quad play service, and whatever. So this is why we're always very, very much in the backyard of this. But if we look at China, our homeland, China needs to put how many more people? 500 million people new. They need to add newly onto the internet 500 million people within the next 8 years. You need to prove me wrong even. if that number has changed, but that's the latest number I got. So pretty much the whole of the European Union needs to come onto the internet. With all the bells and whistles, with all the fun that is out there. So there's the same thing, there's a shortage of knowledge. There's not enough people that know everything and can deal with it. So the rural cloud has become pretty extensive there. Yeah? So you need to build a cloud environment that you can run in the same way as we did voice environment in the past, where the man in the van comes up, drills a couple of holes, puts that in, plugs it in, turns it on, and it's working. If it's not working, it's red. If it's green, it's on, it's red. Okay, take the other box from your car, plug it in. If the third box is not working, call support. Yeah? So that's the kind of cloud experience that we need to build. And this is what we've done in China. Yeah? And a lot of these cases are known. I'll show you a couple of them around the globe. Yeah? So products, we're a big product shop. we're always compared with my previous company. And if I look at this, yeah, they have so many products and we have so many. Because we have everything from the telco environment, we run the wireless network for them, to the media pads and the smartphones, end-to-end shop. Yeah. So that brings a lot of expertise. We're global and we're very scalable. Yeah. And as said, we're using cloud expertise in various markets. The company is not just a product line company. We're focusing on verticals. And some of the important verticals are government, education, healthcare, transport. Give you another example. In the past, when I was flying to San Francisco, there used to be internet on board the 747s or the Airbuses of Lufthansa. It was all run by this joint venture of Boeing and the airline industry. And it was all satellite-based internet. In China, they've done a very clever thing. They've taken the LTE antennas on the main routes, they plugged in LTE antennas, just turned them around. So now you get LTE, high-speed internet on the route through China. I have not seen that in Europe. I have not seen that in the US so far. Yeah? So there's very, very interesting examples of what has been developed in China and what has been run there that we can just take and use. Yeah? As said, government clouds, healthcare environment. I got a couple of examples. Unbelievable. So, as we're sponsoring this event, my marketing needs me to show some products and what we do. So, platforms that we have, we start from facilities. We build buildings or container data centers. We do networking, we do security. We build servers, storage, cloud management, including a cloud operating system. Yes, we can work with VMware. Yes, we can work with Microsoft. But both of them have their legacy and also their limitations. So for very large clouds that have been deployed in China, they weren't scalable enough. So we built our own cloud operating system on top of this, based on open standards, based on CEN. So there is no hassle with you're locked into a vendor-specific thing. Yeah. The general solutions are desktop cloud, converged infrastructure, disaster recovery, service provider clouds, and server consolidation. We all talk about this in the industry for a long time. But then we built industry solutions, telecom clouds. Anyone that deals with media, so TV or broadcasting or anything? It's a very interesting example of this. Yeah. If you do media conversion, so we all got this analog TV data and it needs to be converted into digital. And it's 4:3 and it needs to be converted to 16:9. You want to have it on every device, so you have MPEG-2, MPEG-4, H.264, or some other protocols from Apple. Yes, you can always do it upfront and store all the various file formats in storage. Every disk manufacturer loves that. Or you do it on the fly. By using Media Cloud, that's what we call our solution. You can save a lot of money and do that much faster than in standard devices that have been built in the past. Yeah? So that's the telecom world. E-government, media cloud, e-healthcare. Just a couple of examples. I'll have more on this. Yeah? Desktop cloud. For me, this is why I'm so passionate about desktop cloud. That's the most tangible item we can see. Yeah? It's something you can take, it's something you can see, and it's there. Yeah? All the other cloud environments, it's like, okay, you get more agility because you're using cloud technology. But on a desktop cloud, there's real benefits that you can see. Yeah? Security, especially on the terminals. Yeah? Can I use a USB port? Yes, no. If I'm using a USB port, can I use a printer or can I put in a memory stick? You won't believe, we've done a project with China Airline. They're using desktop VDI environment for reservation systems, whatever. Unbelievable what happens in airlines. These seats, they are usually empty for half of the day. And people are playing around. Oh, there's a USB plug. Let me plug in and see what I can do with this. So you need to have control on this. Transmission, data security is also always very important. Efficiency. We all know about the energy saving of this. It's like there's enough data out there. Internally, what we've seen is exactly the 71% energy saving on the end-to-end solution, including the switch ports and everything that needs to be factored in. Maintenance. For me, that's one of the most driving factors because we got Germany, my home country, we're lacking of 100,000 engineers. And it's not getting better. So, experienced people, we don't have enough. So if we can save on maintenance, then it's good. Our internal case, the 60,000 deployed and 70,000 soon. We used to have one person dealing with roughly 100 PCs. Now they can do 1,000 PCs or 1,000 users. Because there's nothing to repair. If a thin client dies, you know what? Rip it out, plug the new one in, gone. Operating system is not running on this thin client, it's running somewhere else. So that's the efficiency we're bringing up here. Deployment, as said, moving 10,000 people is a matter of days rather than months. Deploying applications is a matter of minutes. So this whole desktop cloud environment is used for R&D during their shifts. And if people are in bed in Shenzhen or in Shanghai, what are we going to do with all these servers? We use them for testing. So within minutes, we can swap all these things and use them for another purpose. And that's the efficiency we're getting. And as said, using that in ICT environment, improved voice quality. The worst thing that can happen to you is you move your call center into a cloud and then it goes bust. So improving voice quality is very important. Service provider. As said, we're coming from a telco world. So the business models are varying here. There's on-demand services, the famous hosting, elastic computing and cloud storage as infrastructure as a service. This is what we're seeing being deployed. This is where we also got the references. And that's good money for people. And we see new players going into that market. We see the traditional telco players that have nothing done but voice, looking for that. Some of them start with data centers. When I was at university, there was analog voice. And all these rooms were like 3 times the size of that room, and they served about 12,000 households. You can serve that with one server today. So there's a lot of empty space they can create by moving technology. And this is where we're seeing that people are constructing new data centers all over the place in Europe. An interesting fact I got from little island next door, Ireland, the amount of data center space around Dublin, the amount of square meters they built over the last 10 years will be built again, so it will double in the next 3 years. So there's new things being built. So IT outsourcing, that's new business for them. And then isolated and complex systems for service provider, for IT systems. This is for service providers. If you're a consulting company or a vendor, that consolidation is still happening. It's unbelievable how much of silos there still are. Especially most of these large players, they still have the network and the IT silos. So they built data centers for the network only, just for DNS services and things. And it's unbelievable how many. Yeah. So here we're looking at reducing OpEx and get higher efficiency, which then also turns out into to the consumer area. E-government. It's going to be about being green, being efficient, and people-oriented. So what we've built there is resources, storage network compute pool, an information platform, and we're still a big hardware vendor. So we're not the SAP. We're not competing with SAP. We're integrating people. Yeah? And we have other people that integrate solutions for us. So this is why in our systems that we have, we build open APIs. Because in the telco world, if you're not open standard, if you're not open, you're dead. They're never going to accept anybody who logs in. And it's very important. This is where we're coming from. And then the solutions, typically public security, education, medical service. Yeah. So we got a lot of partners there. I'm going to show you who they are. There's more. Independent software vendors, OS and middleware vendors, and hardware vendors. On the hardware side, it's primarily people that deliver components to us, like memory, disks, compute platforms. And then, since we have to be open, we're very active in all these various organizations like DTMF and SNIA and cloud forums. Yeah. So let's look at Cloud OS. As said, it's an open platform that deals with virtualization on compute, storage, and network. Haha, no news, because this is where the industry is going. As said, we're coming from things that we build clouds for 20 million users, like in the China Mobile example. Yeah. So we had to build something that runs like a telephone system used to run in the past. I don't want to say it's running now, because sometimes my Vodafone service is not as good as it should be. But that depends on my device, probably. Resource management and distributed and parallel computing. So we got distributed storage, distributed database, and distributed queuing systems. All building one cloud platform, run by a cloud operating system. So what you can do as a software vendor, as an ISV, you plug in on top of this. You don't have to deal with all the nitty-gritty details below here. Yes, yeah, that's our business to fix these things. So that gives us a lot of scalability. That gives us a lot of performance and a lot of automation. We had to build these systems for people who are not IT people. Scalability, you need to be able to come from small to large. I use the same kind of system. Yeah. No matter if it's compute systems, if storage systems, or network system, we're running the same software versions. We're running the same platforms. So this is one of our high-end big pieces where you can plug in a lot of compute power and a lot of memory into that. Yeah. And still everything we're doing here, because if you think in Europe there is a problem with energy, think about China. Saving 10% on that is a lot. Yeah. Storage, our strategy is drive industry transformation. Yes, we got the standard, NAS-based, SAN-based storage, but there is a future moving into object-based storage and moving into cloud platforms for storage. So we already have systems there, and we're also building new technology together with these companies here. This company, CERN, they got requirements which are interesting. one shot in the accelerator produces the amount of 25 petabytes in 1 second. So you're doing one experiment in that thing, and then you have to have a platform that can take 25 petabytes in 1 second. So this is where we're actively engaged with them to really build these systems that will then scale out to new technology that we'll bring to market. Yeah. So interesting enough, that's in service, that's in proof of concept. It's very interesting. It's like we can scale to exabyte type of data. They're growing 25 petabyte per year in a standard. And we can run up to 100 petabyte per second. Because all they do is like this one shot, and then there's silence for a long time until they do the next one. No cloud without security. We already talked about this morning. And there's an awful lot of different types of security you need to build in. Yes, we're a Chinese company, but yes, we have the lab here in the UK where we open up all our source code to the UK government. Shall I repeat? Yes, we have a lab and we're opening up all our source code for government inspection. Try all my friends if they do it. They all send this messages about, oh, we never know, can we trust the Chinese here? I tried that for many years in my previous company. So we got virtual machine security, network security, cloud terminal security. If you still are able to store something on your terminal device, why are people stealing laptops? Just because they want the data, not because of the value of the laptop. So we need to have end-to-end security built into this. And then on the service delivery, yes, for sure, if you're running a desktop VDI, you don't want your neighbor to wiretap you and read everything that you're transmitting, because then everything is vapor what you're doing. So we need load balancing in there, and we need application acceleration. So there's an awful lot of different companies that do one specific thing at the time, which we're happy to work with, by the way, if you need them. But if you want something where you only call one support, then you can come to us as well. So we're open to work with people like F5, with Riverbed and Co., but we got our own solutions as well. That's interesting. For me, that was very interesting exercise getting into Huawei, that you're not locking other vendors out. Whereas before, I always had, you buy my product only. Our integration also can do third party, even if they're competitors. So all of these things build cloud data center. So we talked a lot. We can do physical buildings and all the stack up. And then we get all these various clouds. I want to spend the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes to talk about what has been done so far. A bit of a marketing slide. So more than 60,000 desktops VDI deployed right now. Has anyone got any larger desktop VDI cloud somewhere? I was looking at all my competitors out there, and most of the use cases are between 2,000 and 3,000. Or somebody says 20,000, Japanese company says 25,000, and then you read into the case study and it goes like, we have 2,500 deployed. That's a different scale. This is a global scale, 15 R&D centers worldwide with more than 60,000 people. As said, we're now 11 years in the server business, and nobody knows about it apart you now. Because we always built servers for telcos. We had to build them for real telco environments. Sometimes these are rooms that you won't believe that this is a data center. They're dusty, they're hot, they're not air-cooled, and these things have to work, and they have to ship them in and then leave them. There's no maintenance. Sometimes some of these rooms are not maintained for years. There's nobody coming. Unless something dies, nobody's moving in there because they have 50, 60 kilometers out there in the middle of nowhere. In terms of physical data centers, we've built 210 so far. Customers asking us to build data centers. The largest one are around 300,000 square meters. You can imagine China's got a big supply there. 20 of them are based on cloud. We're working with CERN. One of the two largest cloud environments, where I really have to say China is leapfrogging the Western world in this, is education cloud and healthcare cloud. So we got Guangzhou Education City, and we got the Shanghai district. In Shanghai, the health bureau serves about 400,000 people just with that one. So I got some more details. So one of the largest storage services that we've built was for China Telecom. Interesting challenge. You don't know how your customer base will grow. Because there's not, unlike in Europe or UK, what was it, 1.6 mobile phones per person in the UK? I lost the details this morning. I think it's 1.6. So there's already a kind of an oversupply of mobile phones here. So you know that subscriber base will not grow dramatically. These guys had a different problem. They need to store data, and people are putting all these things like emails and videos, and they want to do IPTV, and they want to do that on mobile phones. So nobody had an idea on how this grows. So they wanted a 100 petabyte storage architecture. It needs to be end-to-end with storage hosting. Yes, they don't have the expertise to run this. Again, we're coming from a world where people usually not have the expertise to run IT. So what we built them, we start with 6 petabyte in first phase, and then added to 20 petabytes in the second phase. And it's really it's rock solid working, and it's growing day by day. In the UK, we have more than just Chinese customers. 365 is using our systems. For them, it was interesting, because they're serving more the consumer type of devices. 100 million of small files needed to be stored. So we're proud that we can do this in a very highly resilient and very flexible environment here. Baidu. It's a company like Google. They were using standard servers, the Google type of environment, and they figured out they're too slow. Because we were getting more requests, so we got a bottleneck of IOPS here. We cannot do enough IOs. So what we did for them is we built a customized system out of our own SSD cards. Hello, Fusion IO, are you in the room? No? They're probably out there selling their card. We got our own, which plugs into our servers or somebody else's servers. That doesn't matter, it's a standard PCIe card. Interesting enough, what happened then, because they were coming to us and said, we got this problem. And we're not a mass server vendor, we're not a mass storage vendor right now. We're in customization. So we went out with the R&D team, looked at this and said, okay, what can we do? So we built this combined thing, which gave us 400% performance improvement. Which is really something, you get two things in one time, better customer experience, energy and cost savings on the other side. Sinotrans, one of the largest transportation companies in China, all over the world. Transportation vertical is very interesting. Without IT, they are dead. They don't know where they have to ship the goods. But since the transportation vertical is very kind of old-fashioned, a friend of mine who's consulting in this area, he said, even with EU and Schengen, importing goods from Italy to Munich, you spend more time in customs than on the road. There's still a lot of manual work, a lot of paperwork you need to do. So the IT environment in these areas is something that is usually like 5 to 10 years behind. So there's a lot of silo, there's a lot of low resource utilization. At the same time, we all know, oil, fuel is not getting cheaper, but they cannot raise the prices at the same time. So they needed to improve costs. So their challenge was budget cut for IT 50%. You need to get better, and you need to cut 50% off. We all love this. So we worked with them. What we said is, okay, there's 48 services you have running right now. And we move all these 48 services on a cloud platform. From 48 times X 10 to 20 servers a piece into 200 servers on a cloud platform. We deployed 5,000 virtual desktop with unified communications, so get rid of all the telephones you need. It's all like small thin clients, headset, works. If it's not working, get a new thin client, it costs nothing. Through the cloud systems, the reliability of these 48 services was getting much better. So we enhanced a couple of things at the same time. So the resource utilization increased from 20% to 70%. So there's still a big market for getting IT run better. And the rollout period of new services and all these things is now from several months to 3 weeks. And the overall reliability, which is the most important one for them, is 4 nines. So you can still improve to 5 nines, but there's some limitations on their software pieces. Africa Union. So it's not only that we're using VDI internally. It's a very interesting government or public sector. And they had this meeting of the African Union. And they usually ran all these things on PCs. It was a very noisy environment. You don't know about security. Are people bringing in USB sticks and are you getting viruses out there? Can you ensure that nobody steals somebody else's data? So they deployed a VDI solution for their summit, and it went flawlessly. So that they said, okay, we're going to not only deploy it once as a test, we're going to run it forever. StarHub. StarHub is one of the largest service providers in Asia Pac. Traditional voice market. This is where they came from. And they knew it's growing in a rate where, you have two choices. Get rid of more people to stay in the business, or go out and do new things. They decided for option 2, go out and do new things. The government, Singapore, the government wanted to drive cloud. So there were reasons for government. The enterprise customers said, can you do more for us? We want to get rid of our IT. We want to move that into cloud basis. So they said, okay, let's focus away from voice only into enterprise market. So what we did for them, we built an infrastructure and as a service platform so that they can start. And at the same time with software companies and integration companies, we jointly built a software as a service platform. So there's an awful lot of companies involved. Some of them we all know, Google, Oracle, Citrix Online, SAP. That StarHub is now providing services with them for their customers. So that was the first time really where a real standard carrier was completely building out as a service platforms. And for them, not only targeting large enterprise, but also small and medium enterprise, because this is where the growth is happening then. Yeah. And then e-government, as said, this is where China is leapfrogging Europe and the US. There's no question. There's so many new things, and there is a government. Is it a resolution? Even you need to help me. Is it a government resolution that everything has to be cloud? I think it's a resolution. So it's, it's a demand from the government. Yeah? You need to be cloud, period. Yeah? So all the cities, all the departments, all the regional government and the central government, they need to move into cloud systems. So one of the examples here in lost the example. Fujian, here we go, yeah. 50 departments used to run their own IT. That means 50 departments have their own IT managers, they have their own procurement, they have their own management systems, and their own ideas. They said, okay, we're going to stop this. We built one cloud data center. We move all of them in. So that helped to reduce the IT cost by 30%. Then they start to share information. There's 1,217 databases. And we heard that this morning. There's an awful lot of different information you have to share as a government. And they put that into the cloud and made this public services. So all in all, more services for the taxpayers, reducing cost, and also 50% reducing in power consumption. And the last example is the medical example. This system is serving 400,000 patients. Same problems as we always see, low efficient information platform, high cost, not enough support, because they were all kind of standalone systems built by people that have no understanding of ICT. So what we said is, okay, let's look at the overall thing, because people usually start like, oh yeah, can I do desktop VDI for my office environment? And you go like, okay, that's one thing where you can save money. But by the way, there's so many other problems you're going to be facing, and why don't we look at one piece at a time and look at a holistic solution. So they built a district-wide health cloud with modularized data center, so they can grow whenever they need. Sometimes it's containers, sometimes it's modularized racks. So you're not limited to, oh, I need to wait for a new building to come. All in all, they put virtual desktop environment in place, they put online patient records in place, they put the PAC systems there, they put the healthcare research system, they put everything into this cloud. First of all, patient satisfaction grew up dramatically. 70% reduction in power, made them more greener. 75% saving in space, which is an overall TCO reduction of 60%. But more important than any of these TCOs is a PC problem never hits the patient. So there is no problem that the doctor's service is interrupted because there's a PC problem. There's one more. School. Shanghai is a cool example. They do virtual classrooms, reading rooms, teachers' offices all benefit from cloud. You can have it all on the pads. We've seen use cases this morning, so yeah, that's something that we're seeing in Europe as well. So in summary, 1 minute to go. Cloud computing is changing. We all know that. And for how many years are we talking about cloud now? Interesting enough, most of the concepts, most of us in the room are old enough that we know still companies like Digital Equipment. Most of these cloud concepts are pretty similar than what we had in the past. It's just now based on open standards rather than something from one single company. And it's based on industry standard platforms from Intel or AMD. But cloud computing is becoming more mature now. Yeah? Reliability and resiliency is there. Yeah? And I'm very proud that we have contributed to that through our cloud environments that we built for telcos, in which unfortunately, they are built so good that you still have to pay your mobile bill every month, because these systems never fail. They got scalability, manageability now, and yeah, as a vendor, we're offering not only IT, but ICT clouds. That's one of the main differentiators that we're doing in the market. And if you want, you can always come and see what's going on in China. Visit us in Shenzhen. Thank you very much. I'm here for the rest of the day, so come by our booth or after the presentation, but there's more presentations to come this afternoon. And keep in touch with us. Thank you very much.